Now, it's been said that every dog has his day. And it is true. Every dog does have his day. But it's also true, every humpback has his day. Let me explain with the story. Not long ago, there was a young humpback, and his name was Tommy. Tommy was a runt of the pod. He was the smallest humpback in the entire pod, smaller than all the rest. But not only that, but he had these huge flukes. And everyone in the pod rejected Tommy. They made fun of him. They alienated him from the pod. One time his dad took him out, and his dad said to him, "Tommy, every humpback has his day." Well, Tommy liked to play with the dolphins. He made friends with the dolphins because he was alienated from the pod. But his very bestest friend of all was a dolphin named Flashy. Flashy taught him all kinds of things that the other humpbacks never did learn. He taught him how to make twists and turns and jump in the air and do all kinds of things. Flashy even showed him hidden things, showed him hidden caverns, caves, and crevasses. He had a lot of fun with Flashy. Now, Tommy had eyes for Becky. But all the male humpbacks liked to be around Becky, especially Frank. Now, Frank was the biggest humpback in the entire pod. He always seemed to be around Becky, so Tommy didn't have a chance to even get to know Becky. But every time he had a chance to come close to Becky, Becky gave him a big smile. Well, one day, Tommy was out in the ocean, enjoying the salty scent of the sea and the blue skies, sunny skies, eating krill and playing games with the other dolphins. Then Flashy came up to him. Speeding, and Flashy said, "Tommy, they got Becky." Well, Tommy knew immediately what Flashy was talking about, because this is the way it happens, is that the whale hunters, they'll choose a young humpback and they'll chase it into a lagoon. Then they'll spread a gill net in front of the lagoon so the humpback can't get out. And then they wait, because a young humpback will begin to cry, and all the adult whales will come to rescue the young humpback. The whale hunters stand there with their harpoons and they shoot to kill all of the adult whales. Now, Tommy's mama was there when the news came, and she said, "Tommy, don't go, they'll kill you." But Tommy's dad said, "No, we can't hold Tommy back anymore." He saw the look in Tommy's eye, said, "Tommy, go and do what you got to do." So Tommy swam away as fast as he could, blasting through the water, faster than he had ever swam before. He gets to the lagoon. He sees the gill net, and then he sees Frank there. He goes up to Frank and he says, "Frank, what are you going to do?" Frank looks at him. He says, "Humpback, I can't do anything. They'll kill me." Well, Tommy looked at him in disgust and he said, "Coward!" Away he went. Now, Tommy knew where there was a crevasse. Now, the larger humpbacks, the other humpbacks, couldn't make it through the crevasse because they were too big. But Flashy had taken Tommy through this crevasse dozens of times. He knew it like the back of his hand. Tommy swam through the crevasse into the lagoon, and he found Becky in the lagoon, and there was Becky. Becky was crying. Tommy went out and put his pectoral fin around Becky and said, "Becky, don't worry. I'll get you out of here. Follow me." And he took Becky and he led her to the front, the opening to the crevasse. But of course, Becky was too large to fit through the crevasse. So he said, "Here, what I'll do, I'll dive down and I'll find the bottom of the net. I'll lift it up and let you through." At that, Becky swam closer to Tommy, gave him a big kiss on his cheek, and at that, Tommy dove down into the water, grabbed hold of the net and lifted it up, and Becky swam through. Then Tommy went back. He swam back into the lagoon, and he looked, and there he saw the boat with the whalers all on one side of the boat. He didn't know what to do, but all the pod was there now. All the dolphins were there now, and he calls out to Flashy, "Flashy, do something. I need a diversion." Well, immediately all the dolphins start jumping in and out of the water all around the boat, yattering their heads off. And then Tommy backs out into the lagoon to think for a minute. What is he going to do? And as he does that, anger grows in his heart. So he begins to think what these whalers have planned to do to Becky and to her mom and her dad. Then he thinks about what his dad said. His dad said, every humpback has his day. And he knew, today is my day. At that he began skimming through the water as fast as he could go towards the net. He gets close to the net and he jumps up over the net. Then he did one of these twists that Flash had taught him. He did this twist and he used his flukes to knock all the whalers into the water. All the whalers in the water. Immediately the dolphins started playing with the whalers, tossing them back and forth like large rubber balls in the water. Now Becky's mom and dad, they began to work at the whaling ship to bring it down, to upset it. Soon the whaling ship was sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Becky sees Tommy and she swims over to Tommy and not sure how Tommy's going to respond to her, but Tommy smiles at her and that was her signal. She swam closer to Tommy, came up to him, gave him a big kiss on the cheek. Tommy wrapped his pectoral fin around Becky, and Becky looked up at Tommy and said, "Tommy, let's go home." And then Tommy's dad came over and said to Tommy, "Tommy, every humpback has his day. This was your day. I'm glad that I'm your dad. I'm proud of you." And then he turned to Becky and said, "Becky, you've got one hell of a humpback." Madam Toastmaster.